Three, two, one, ghost. Hey, everybody. Welcome to 321 Ghost. As always, I'm your host with the silent G, Kyle, and also, as always, joined by my pal Natalie. Hey, Natalie, how are you?
Doing fantastic. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. Today, we're talking about Oren Peli's found footage 2007 film, Paranormal Activity, which, gosh, um, I would think is probably a modern ghost story classic, probably of the aughts.
Well, two things. Is it modern?
I think everything after 2000, I'm going to count as modern.
Okay. I like that you just made that up. And then
Thanks.
also, is it a ghost story?
Well, okay, it's paranormal, and yes, okay, it's technically a demon, so whatever. But it's ghosty enough. It's a demon that performs ghostly tricks.
Okay, I'll take that. It's doing spooky things.
Because when I think demon, I think like all those exorcism movies where they just yell a bunch of mean things and throw green vomit at you. And there's definitely much more of a consistent possession situation going
Hmm.
on. Whereas this little fucker's just running around the house, like making his little pitter patters and throwing keys around and closing doors and really escalating the situation like a ghost would in a haunted house movie. So I know technically it's a demon. And honestly, the more these movies get into the lore, the less I care. But which
I disagree.
with most horror movies, you could probably say something similar. But yeah, so I still whatever. I'm calling this a ghost movie. I know it's
Okay.
technically not, but whatever.
It feels spooky and ghostly.
And then found footage. Gosh, I feel like, there was the Blair Witch Project. Like, granted, okay, there's like Cannibal Holocaust, other found footage type movies, much earlier.
But they didn't like blow it out of the water.
They didn't blow the fuck up the way like Blair Witch Project did. And then
Yeah.
there was a number of, and that was 1999, I think. Um,
Hmm.
and then there was a number of found footage kind of knockoffs after that. And you felt like you kind of really wrung all the juice you really could out of found footage
Yeah.
until this movie came along. And this movie
Hmm.
was a really big deal. Like I think like when I say this one is iconic, I think there's also just the cultural impact it had at the time.
Hmm.
Like the Saw movies also made a bunch of money and had a big series, but like it wasn't like the first Saw wasn't like a absolute must go. There's footage of people running out of the audience in terror and shit
Yeah.
like this movie was.
Yeah.
Um, and really got into like the marketing just really got into like hit a very uncomfortable nerve, much
Yeah.
like Blair Witch Project. Um,
Did you see the Blair Witch Project in theaters?
no, not in theaters. I don't think.
I did. My mom took me to see it, which is wild because I think we were like, what, 10,
10,
12 at the
12.
time. She also took me to see this movie in the theater. Did you see this
Yeah.
in the theater?
I did.
Okay.
And I'll share that story in a second. It's
Yeah.
I think it's a funny one. But
Oh, good.
found footage in particular, gosh, whenever you think they've really come up with or mined all that they could, it's like, I don't know, you've got, like I said, Blair Witch in 99, you've got this in 2007. Cloverfield is what the year after. I
Hmm.
remember that also being kind of a big deal when that came out. And that movie, I don't know if you'd call that horror. It's horror enough. It's a monster
It
movie.
it feels like it could be like action and horror, maybe, or
So,
sci-fi and horror. But
yeah.
I feel like Paranormal Activity works for found footage the way Scream worked for slashers, where it was feeling tired and then it like put a breath of new life into it.
And then even after Paranormal Activity, of course, you had a Paranormal Activity movie almost every year after that, kind of like
Mhm.
Saw. And then you felt like, gosh, okay, y'all really, we're done with found footage. Y'all really wrung really everything you could out of this situation. But then, you also get Creep, which
Mhm.
I think brought something new
Yeah.
to found footage. Because, like, the hardest part with these movies is justifying why this asshole would carry around a camera this whole movie.
Yeah.
and document all of these things. Whereas I just really think in real life, you just,
You'd be like, let's just stop.
yeah, let's hold on, let's press pause. Um, so, but fuck, I remember seeing this movie because it was such a big deal at the time. Um,
Yeah, I want to hear your story.
it's a pretty quick story, but I went and saw it with my friends Lori and Sean and some others. I think I can't remember. When I was living in San Francisco, I remember saw it, I think at the Century Mark in Daly City, right on top of San Francisco. Um, and yeah, like I said, just because it was such a big deal, of course, I'm a big horror buff, a little bit, try to be. And so we all went out and saw it. The woman I was dating at the time doesn't fuck with horror. She's like, no, I'm good. You go and do that. I will meet you at your place afterwards. So I go, I watch the movie. I had a lot of fun with it. And I'll talk more about like my actual like, thoughts about the movie itself a little later on.
Hmm.
But I just thought it was a funny story. We come back from the movie, like we hang out, I meet my girlfriend there. Who knows? I don't even remember like what we did that night. But we go to bed. And also, by the way, she wants nothing to know with even knowing what's the movie's about. Like, I don't even talk about it. So she knows nothing about this movie. We go to bed. I swear to God, I have never been so terrified waking up in my entire
Oh
life,
my gosh.
where I wake up and this is the middle of the night. I look to my left and she's just standing there over me, just kind of like doing this kind of back and forth a little bit, just like Katie does in the movie. And I just literally, I probably jumped like 6 feet out of the bed straight in the air. And I was like, what the fuck are you doing? What the fuck are you fucking doing? And she's so confused. She's half awake. She's tears
Did
are
she
coming.
sleepwalk?
No, she just because I had a glass of water on my side of the bed. So she like got up, walked around, and then like had like a drink of like water from my glass. And it woke me up. And she's like, "What? What?" And I was like, "Don't you dare fucking do this again." I was like, "Get back to bed. Get back to bed." And I just thought it was really funny and just fucked up because she had no idea. But then I was like, something as simple as your partner just getting up, walking to the other side of the bed, and just standing there next to you. I'm just like, this is terrifying. Stay away from me.
Yeah.
Even if it's someone you know and you think you trust, right? Get the fuck out of there.
Yeah, for sure. That's really funny. I wonder if she did know more about the movie than you thought and just set that whole thing up.
It would be pretty
That'd be
funny in
fun.
retrospect. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I definitely give her credit for that. How about you? When was the first time you watched this movie? I know you said you saw it with your mom, right?
Yeah, I saw this in the theater with my mom. My mom loves found footage, loves, loves, loves found footage, and she especially likes to see it in the theater. So we went to go see this together. And I have to say, this was one of my favorite theater experiences ever. I enjoyed it so much. This movie scared the shit out of me. When we left the movie theater, my body felt sore from like how tense I was. Like I was sitting like on the edge of my seat because it was so fun to watch and so scary. And my mom loved it too. And we had a really good audience. So like everybody was really reactive. So that was also really fun. So as long as an audience isn't like too over the top, like no Scream 2 stab action going on, I enjoy audience like reaction. So we had a really, really great time with it. And I still put this in one of my favorite theater watches, and it's still in like my list of probably like favorite movies and highly recommend for found footage.
I had a great audience too. I just remember one person halfway through the movie, it just just yells, "Get back to bed, bitch. Just get back to bed." Because it really helps. Like, gosh, with the movie like that, really relieves a lot of tension because the whole theater just
Yeah.
starts laughing, right? But the movie is, for a lack of a better comp, it's like it's very much like a roller coaster in the sense where you
Hmm.
have these kind of maybe kind of like lulls in between during the day, and then you
Mm-hmm.
get to each night, and everyone's like, "Oh fuck, man, we know another night's
Yes.
coming." And then you just see the time in the bottom right, and then you start seeing going faster and faster and faster. And I feel
Yeah.
like that's you just getting to the top of this roller coaster, and then you're like, "Oh my God, what the fuck's gonna happen now?" And it was it was effective when I saw it, like, and it was great. So
Yeah.
it was really fun in that regard.
It's a
But yeah,
smart format, like because it teaches you as an audience quickly when to expect a scare, but it also catches you off guard every now and then where something during the day might throw you a little
yeah.
bit. So and also with it just being such a small cast, it's like four people.
Yeah, right. It's you've got Katie Featherston who plays Katie, you've
Hmm.
got Mika Sloat who plays Mika, and then
Hmm.
you have the sister, and then you have Dr. Frederick.
No, that's
Because you
not her
never
sister. That's her friend.
are you sure that's not her sister? I thought it was.
I'm sure it's not her sister because that's a
Hmm.
completely different woman than in
Uh,
future movies. And her name's Amber, and her
oh, I thought it
sister's
was a
name is
different actress or
Christy.
something later.
Yeah, no, her sister's name's Christy.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll have to remember that when I'm going through my notes. I thought that was her sister.
Oh, did you write it down as her sister the whole time?
In my plot points, yeah.
Good job.
So this movie, it's kind of interesting. Like I said, the way it was made, it was made very inexpensively. I think it was like 15K
Yeah.
post-production. Once it was secured by studio, they added some stuff. They changed the ending. Did you know this wasn't the
Hmm.
original ending?
I did know this wasn't the original ending. I don't remember what the original ending was, but one thing I do remember is that CGI situation that happens on her face was not part of the original ending.
Right. The original endings, there's one where she kills Mika, and I think police arrive. You don't, but you think you hear all of this, but you don't see it.
Mm,
And the police shoot her dead.
mm.
And so I was like, this is a white woman in San Diego. Are you sure they would just, unless like she was like coming at them?
Yeah, that wouldn't have worked well for the rest of the franchise.
Yeah, right. So, and then the other one, I think, where she, like, Mika dies no matter what. And I think in
Good.
one, like, she comes to the camera and like slits her own throat.
Oh, yes. I think I've seen that alternative ending before.
And it's kind of fucked up because, like, as she's slitting her own throat, I think that's when she like snaps and she's back to Katie, you know? So, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Fucking asshole demon. But, and then I think there was another one that wasn't filmed, but I can't remember. This is, I mentioned that this was in San Diego.
Hmm.
We're from San Diego.
Hmm.
You're still in San Diego.
I am.
I know. I tried to get her to go to that house, but she wouldn't do it.
No, number one, I'm not going by myself. Number two, I mean, if anyone has been to Carlsbad, it's very uneventful.
This one, the second one is in Carlsbad.
Oh,
This
it's the
one is
second one
in,
that's in Carlsbad?
yeah, this one's in Rancho Penasquitas.
Oh,
Yeah.
Rancho Bendisquita, same fucking thing.
I, so this was Oren Peli's house. Which I'm like,
Oh,
damn, dude, you're probably doing pretty good to own a house in San Diego at that point. I actually
yeah.
I looked up the Redfin posting of this house. Do you know how much this house is worth right now?
Okay, let's see. They had the master bedroom, two bedrooms upstairs, big walk-in closet, attic, kitchen, living room, what looked like a den. I'm gonna say Rancho Pasacanes, oh, 850K.
Oh fuck, I wish. Um, it was
Is it
purchased for
over a million?
it was purchased for 760 like 10 years ago.
Oh
This is four
gosh.
beds, three baths.
Well,
I
it's
didn't
four
see.
bedrooms. They didn't show the fourth bedroom, so I didn't know.
Yeah, I was trying to get a layout of the house, unless that it was an addition afterwards. I don't know. But the Redfin
Mm.
estimate is $1.7 million for this
Oh,
house. I'm like, you could straight
gross.
up, you could make this movie like 25 times, if more with my, don't check my math. You could make this movie 15 to 20 times just on the value of this house, which is wild. So I unfortunately I just, I don't have a whole lot of sympathy for the rich. And I'm like, that's why they don't leave that house. I'm just like, I don't know that, how high a mortgage is, how valuable this house is, even with the
Well,
demon situation.
not to mention. like not to get
Uh-huh.
ahead of ourselves here, but like Katie's a student
I
and
think this is just Mika's house.
Mika's a day
I don't think
trader,
they own
which
it
is
together.
that's a very unstable income. So, do you know what a day trader is?
It probably trades during the day.
Yeah, he does. But it's yeah, I just don't believe that they would have that beautiful home. And I just yeah. Mm-mm.
And this is just me now, like in my late 30s watching this movie, and I'm always thinking about like how much did they pay for that house? I wonder what do they is there an HOA situation with that?
Oh, in that neighborhood, absolutely.
Oh, I'm sure in all those neighborhoods. I
Yeah.
but yeah, I feel like I'm not doxing it because you can find this online, but it's 13236 Bavarian Drive in San Diego.
Oh, I'm sure
Um,
people like, know the house.
I'm sure there's a while where people were just driving by and just like look outside, take pictures.
Well, they don't show the exterior of the house from like the front view. They only show it like with Mika standing facing the driveway. So you don't actually see the front of the house ever.
Right. I live, well, no, never mind. I don't want to dox myself, so I'm not gonna say shit. So, I was gonna say I live also by a very famous house, but I'm good.
Did you take note of how much money this movie made since it only cost $15,000 to make?
What? This is like 190 something like that million worldwide.
Yeah, 193 million worldwide. I was like, what a profit to turn. That's the
And
best part of found footage.
at the time, it claimed to be the most profitable movie of all time based on just like,
That
how
makes sense.
exponentially, successful it was based on whatever you put into it. Because I mean, like I said, the movie cost 15,000, and then
Mm-hmm.
it was an extra a couple $100,000 they put towards the ending. And
Mm-hmm.
then my understanding is, and then of course you've got your marketing materials and stuff, which I'm sure probably, I'd say probably at least a million, 2 million, probably.
Mm-hmm.
But still, fuck, to be able to make that much money.
Yeah.
That's why horror is just always going to be so profitable because it's like you can make that shit for dirt cheap. And what's the worst that's going to happen? This movie makes $1 million. Then you're like, oh, well, fuck, we still made
Yeah.
what, 5 times, 10 times our investment. So fuck, all
Mm-hmm.
right. Nowadays, fuck, you can make a movie like this, just dump it on, Shutter or something,
Yeah.
and you'll just recoup your cost like tenfold easy. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, this movie, being as profitable as it was, I mean, obviously there was a no-brainer that they were going to just keep churning these movies out. Um, but then also, yeah, I don't know. Then you get a lot of found footage copycats that came out after this
Mm-hmm.
too. You've got on a spectrum of like Willow Creek that I think is really good, and then you
Mm.
also have, you know, Ghost Encounters, which is like, well, not as good.
Yeah.
Charming, but but
Wait,
not
are you
as
talking
good.
about grave encounters?
That's the one, Grave Encounters.
Grave encounters is fun, and then it like loses itself at the end.
If I ever want to lose myself, it's going to be with Eminem and Mekhi Phifer. Also, this movie, like I said, takes place in San Diego.
Mhm.
I tried to look and see what other horror movies took place in San Diego because it's just honestly
Oh,
not a
fun.
not a very spooky place, you
It's
know?
really not, but it could be if people tried harder.
I live in the Pacific Northwest and it
It's very
is
spooky.
nothing but spookiness all the
Mm-hmm.
time. So there really isn't a whole lot. I tried. Now there are movies based in San Diego. You got like Jaws 3, you've got Anchorman, which, oh, Jesus, I'd say if you're really from San Diego, fuck Anchorman, man. That whole go fuck yourself San Diego meme is just going to ruin us forever. As a
I
San
love
Diego
it.
sports fan, everyone's just got that at the ready to send that to me. And I'm like, okay, god damn it.
Aw,
Fucking Will Ferrell.
that's a mean way to use that.
It is. So um so Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. It's been a long time since I've seen it.
It's been a
Allegedly
long
takes
time
place
since
in
I've
San
seen it
Diego.
too.
And then also, I would say the spookiest thing in San Diego. is in the Old Town neighborhood.
I knew you were
We
going to
do
bring this
have
up.
our official haunted house, which is
Hmm.
the Whaley House, owned by Thomas Whaley, and his family. Now, have you ever been to the Whaley House before?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, you look
Um,
very unimpressed when I'm mentioning this.
I'll tell you why. Many times when you're told something's going to be spooky, it ends up being more historical. And if there's one thing I hate, it's being tricked into a fucking history lesson. So when I went to the Whaley House, I was not impressed. I didn't find it spooky. I found it just, it felt like visiting a historical landmark.
So,
It's
ghosts,
beautiful.
the whole thing about ghosts is that they were alive prior in
No
history.
shit.
So you kind of have to learn a little bit of history. Every time, every one of these movies where you have to go to the library and look through the old newspaper clippings, you're learning history. It's a history lesson. That's the beauty of history because you can have spooky history.
It's different if I'm getting a history lesson about the person's life and all of those things. When I start getting a history lesson about architecture and the city, I don't want to hear any of that. I don't need any of that in my life. Leave it. I want to hear about spooky shit. So maybe I'm underselling it. So if you do go to the Whaley House, maybe you'll enjoy it more than I did. But fun story, my mom loves spooky shit too. She took my son to the Whaley House and he was maybe like 5 at the time. So she told him it was like she didn't tell him it was spooky because she didn't want to like scare him, but she was like, they're gonna like talk about, people who used to live here and things like that. So they walked into the Whaley house and he immediately, like before anyone said anything, was like, I want to leave. I don't like it here. And my mom, of course, was like, did you see something? Like, did you feel something? And he's like, no, like I want to go. I don't like it here. And so of course now my mom tells that story to everyone and tells them that, he has some sort of sense where he can see ghosts. And that's not, I don't think that's true. But she had a spooky experience, so there you go.
I bring up Whaley House because there was a movie called The Haunting of
Oh,
Whaley House.
have
You
you
remember this
watched
one?
it?
Yeah, it's
Did we
terrible.
watch it together?
We may have,
I
but
think we may have. It's terrible.
it's not even filmed at the actual Whaley House.
No.
And they really it's pretty offensive but they take pretty big liberties with
Yeah.
what actually happened to a lot of these very real people that died tragic deaths in that
Yes.
area and in that house. And I don't know if they left out the thing where like the house was built on one of the first places they'd hang people in San Diego, so it's
Hmm.
already
That
already
part is
spooky stuff.
interesting. I like that part of history.
Yeah. But outside of that, I think there was some movie called Tentacles. This is kind of like a B horror movie, kind of piranha-esque, I'm sure. But if anybody knows of more horror movies set in San Diego, let me know because I'd love to watch them.
Are you just
They're
trying to freak me out?
what?
You like really dug into this. You're like, what spooky shit's happening in San Diego? Send it to Natalie.
I'd love to know. We'll send it to me first. Well, actually, you oversee the social media, so you're gonna find out first.
Yeah, you're talking to me if you message anybody.
So I'm ready to hop into this movie. How about you?
I'm ready.
So we basically just hop essentially right in. They must have been having all
Mm-hmm.
these conversations prior that um, Katie sensing some weird stuff going on in the house, feeling weird, like there's a presence possibly, just some weird shit going on she can't really explain, hearing noises in the night, maybe a
Mm-hmm.
stray voice from time to time. And her boyfriend Mika is like, oh, okay, let me just grab the biggest ass camera I can find.
Mm-hmm.
Are there not smaller video cameras in 2007? He's carrying like a big ass
She
camera.
says that. She was like, why didn't you get like a handheld something or other? He went way above and beyond. My evaluation of this is he says he believes her, but he definitely doesn't at this point because he hasn't experienced anything spooky. It's only
Yeah.
her. because everything's real subtle. Like the demon's kind of feeling out the situation. And he took this as an opportunity to overspend on a camera that he didn't
100%.
need. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, let me just buy all stuff. Maybe I need a new computer. Maybe I need some more
Yeah.
equipment, stuff like that. I think he just needed a reason to just, yeah, like you
Yeah.
said,
That's a
overspend and buy some
very
shit.
like day trader fucking bro thing to do. Like, oh, I just need the biggest, baddest camera because my girlfriend's saying she's seeing ghosts, even though I don't believe her. Like, yeah, that's what
I
he'd be
think
doing.
and he kind of, he hints at it a little bit. I think really the main purpose of that camera was to put that in the bedroom for other reasons.
Oh, 100%. He brings it up like 500 times until that demon is literally walking on their fucking face in the middle of the night. He's like, so we're going to fuck in front of this camera or what?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Unless I'm missing anything, we hop into our first night,
really
where he gets the
quickly.
camera set up. This is when you start seeing like, you've got the timer that says what time of night it is. It starts going.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the
Setting
first
it up.
night, pretty simple. You hear some noises, take
You
some
hear little
keys.
footsteps.
Yeah, a little pitter patter, and
Mm-hmm.
takes the keys that were on the counter. Katie swears they
Mm-hmm.
were on the counter, just throws them on the ground. Like, so like little shit just to be like kind of an asshole, like toddler
Yeah.
shit,
Yeah.
you know,
It's very petty.
very petty stuff where he's just
Yeah.
walking in, he picks something up, puts it in his mouth, throws it. I don't know,
I
like
mean,
a
this
toddler.
demon, this demon's been around since she was 8. So it's probably like, oh, you drive now? How fucking cool. Just throws the keys on the ground. Like I feel like it's a very petty, petty demon.
Maybe, I don't know. I guess demons, usually have hooves, but usually have hands and opposable thumbs. I was thinking maybe he'd go out for like a joyride or something, but maybe doesn't have like the thumbs to pick it up, so it drops,
Yeah, she's
So
got
he's
that
like,
cute
fuck.
little Miata, little
Yeah.
convertible in the night.
That's the other thing, well, not the Miata thing, but I'm just, she is a student. So
Mm-hmm.
she's like, I'm expecting, and then right, this takes place, basically what, like late September into October. And I'm like, this is like fall quarter. Like, is she going to like do like writing papers and taking exams and shit when this stuff's going on?
Homegirl is the world's worst student because we don't even see her studying until the demon is like really just terrorizing them. Finally, she's like, you know what? I better hit the books.
Maybe he was trying to help her. Like maybe like he was trying to possess her and be like, you really need to study. So I'm just gonna possess you and we're gonna open this book and keep going because I need to make sure that you're successful. So maybe that's what happened.
Yeah, it's
This because your
silly.
your career in beads is not gonna get you
Oh
there.
my gosh, the
So we need to
beads.
open up those textbooks and go.
I know. Yeah,
Um,
she's so busy knitting and making fucking bracelets and necklaces. I'm like, what are we studying, Katie? Like what is it fucking being Martha Stewart? Because I one book you see her crack open.
the next day, she notices the keys on the ground. I don't think they don't wake up during any of this, so they just find it the next morning. Katie's just like, "Oh my gosh, here's keys. I left them on the counter. Something
Mm-hmm.
weird's going on." But she's already got it taken care of because she is already called in a psychic. Um,
Mm.
I like this character. He's pretty fun.
I love the psychic. I I have to say though, Mika, before the psychic even gets there, is very much an asshole about the whole thing. And Katie is clearly annoyed by it, but he chooses to continue to be disrespectful. But here's the thing. This guy is not from San Diego. Like they say that he like flew in to be there. So they must have paid him to come, I'm assuming,
Mhm.
right? Like
I assume so.
if you paid someone to come and evaluate a situation in your home, a spooky situation, wouldn't you be like a little bit nicer to him? I'm assuming this is on Mika's dollar since Katie doesn't have an income.
Well, Mika's just kind of a dickhead skeptic throughout.
He's
Even
the
when shit's
worst.
like,
We'll get to him.
he's the worst. I have no sympathy for him.
No, I the whole time, the first time watching this movie, I was like, if this guy makes it out of this movie alive, I'll be furious.
So they start talking to this psychic about what's going on. He's like, this sounds a lot like more like a demon, and that's
Mm-hmm.
really not my thing. I'm here to just kind of
Yeah.
read your palms and shit. Like, I don't really fuck with this sort of
But he
thing.
seems to know a lot about it and he seems to like feel things in the
Yeah.
house. So it's interesting that even though the situation hasn't escalated yet, that he's so anti, like, here's somebody else you can call right away.
For someone who's not an expert, he really talks in a lot of absolutes. Like, it's like, oh, no,
Yes.
leaving's not going to help you. And I'm like, well, I don't know. We
Yes.
can try.
I was thinking about that too. Would your first instinct to be to buy a camera, or would it be like maybe it will kind of like throw the demon off a little bit if we just kind of like go somewhere else? Because it seems to be getting more comfortable in its surroundings.
Well, it seems to get angrier when you bring in like the camera and the Ouija board and everything. And that's kind of what Katie was saying. She was just like, honestly, it wasn't even that bad until Mika, you kept fucking pushing it. And now you're getting a
Mm-hmm.
camera. Now you're doing all this. You start fucking taunting it in the middle of the night. Like, what the
Yeah.
fuck,
Because
dude?
you're
Like,
acknowledging it.
and she's like, it's hard because I'm of two minds where I'm like, you need to tell me this from the beginning when we're dating. None of
Mm-hmm.
this, you're already living in my house and
Yeah, I
you
was going to
brought this
ask you
thing
that.
in.
Would you maybe I'll reverse the question. If you had something that was following you from house to house and you were dating someone and like it was getting to a point where you're like, okay, we're probably going to move in together. Like when would be the right time to tell them, do you think?
Before we move in together.
So
You
you
don't have
would
to bring it up
wait?
first date.
No, no, no. But like you would wait till it got that serious.
Oh no, no, I would wait. Like, I would wait until we started talking about moving in together.
Well,
The
that's what I'm
second
saying.
that
Like,
conversation starts, that's when I'm
yeah.
like, oh, you mean serious, like the relationship, not like serious, like
Yes, yes,
how,
the
okay.
relationship serious, not the demon haunting.
Yeah, like I get dragged out of bed like 3 times a night or 3 times a week. So, um, yeah, no, I think it would probably come up beforehand, but I would definitely bring it up again when we're talking about moving in together.
I think I would do the same timing of like, okay, we're talking about moving in together. Here's my demon history. Would that now on the other side of it, would it stop you from moving in with that person? Like if you've already made it that far into that commitment?
I think I would maybe be open to it because I think I would still be a little skeptical. Like, I would certainly
Yeah.
trust that she is absolutely believing what she is saying,
Yes.
but I think I would be like, hey, how about
Let's try it.
let's try it out.
Hmm.
Maybe we find a short-term lease somewhere, see what's going on.
Month to month.
Yeah. And then we'll try it out. And then if I start seeing some shit, because I guess I would think that if it were attached to me, I don't know. I'd like to think that I would tell my partner like, hey, it is not safe for you, unfortunately, and I don't want you to get caught in the middle of what's going on. You can help me try to work around this. Please don't think I'm
Mm.
crazy, but I'm just kind of looking out for you because I don't know. Again, Mika just escalates all of this.
He makes it so much worse. So yeah, maybe that's the determining factor on both sides. It's like how seriously do you take this? Whether you believe me or not. Are you going to be fucking around trying to catch things on camera, like taking it seriously? Um I don't know that if it wasn't currently haunting me or following me, I probably wouldn't bring it up. I probably would have done what Katie did.
Yeah.
I'd be like, maybe it went away.
Well, and it does kind of come in waves and goes, and she isn't even sure if
Mm-hmm.
it's a demon, right? And but then also it's just kind of like, yeah, like just like don't get the fucking Ouija board. It's like don't give it more
Mm-hmm.
reasons to let it inside. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? I think you could have effectively ignored this thing for a
Yeah.
while. I mean, you're always living with it, right? And it comes and goes,
Yeah.
It has its flare-ups, right? But
It's flare-ups.
I think you can manage it in a way and still live a good life, right? I'm talking about demons.
I know. I know.
You've got You've got night three, which is the next night they go over in the
Wait,
movie.
something important that Katie discloses to the psychic is about the house burning down,
Right. But the
which
last
is
house burning
very,
down.
yes, very interesting. And I like how quick she is to dismiss it. Like, I don't think it that these two things are related. I think that's
Yeah,
out of fear.
I think so too.
Yeah.
And the psychic kind of picks up on that, which is why he's just kind of like, oh, hold on. Let's talk about this house burning down a
Yeah.
little bit.
Yeah.
Because maybe he knows, like, I mean, they find out later on, when they research this other woman, from
Hmm.
what the 70s or something, where like the exact same thing happened, house burned down, this and this and this.
Hmm.
So that's probably why he wanted to learn a little bit more about it. But
Yeah.
um night three, still pretty tame. You've got the door that kind of creaks a little bit here this way, another way this way.
Kind of little spooky fun ghost activity.
Love that. The next day, Mika's looking at it on the cameras and he's like, yeah, I don't see anything else moving. There's no
Hmm.
like gust of wind or anything. You just see that just open and I mean, it
Hmm.
doesn't even close. It just kind of like swivels a little bit on the hinge.
Is
And
this
then
around the time? Is this around the time that she says she wants to call the demonologist and
well,
he's like not down for it at all?
she wants to call the demonologist, what's his name? Dr. Avery's.
Dr.
And
Avery's.
because the psychic recommends that pretty immediately. He's like,
Hmm.
"Hey, I can't help you, but I know someone who might be able to." Which I'm like, man, y'all couldn't have like tried some other demonologists, I
I
don't know.
know. Wouldn't you love though to sit in on a conversation of that psychic and the demonologist just like having coffee?
Yeah,
They
he'd be
probably
like,
have a fun
man,
time.
yeah. He's like, you got some crazy shit in store for you. I made a
Yeah,
referral, and it's ooh.
pretty bad.
Um. So, and then I guess I just don't know too, like if it's kind of the same with like contractors like it is, with psychics and demonologists, and you're just so I kind of always everyone's got a guy they're gonna recommend to
Yeah.
you, and you're just kind of like, oh, okay, I'll get some quotes and ask around. But you're
Yeah.
right. For all the stuff Mika, and this is why he's such a fucking bonehead,
No,
and
he's
it's
so
the
fucking
only
dumb.
reason I could come up with is yeah, this like bullshit, like masculine, like tough
Hmm.
guy, like no, like me and my cameras and my EVP and my powder on the floor, like we're gonna solve this,
Yeah.
not someone who like has like a deep knowledge about this sort of shit. You're
Yeah.
just like, you're like, bro, just the same thing. I'm like, just call a plumber. Like, come on, man.
Yes,
Like,
exactly.
clearly you're not fixing it. Like, it's been 3 weeks now. Can we please
Yeah.
just call a plumber?
It's the same situation as like, I don't know where I am. Let me ask for directions.
Yeah. See our episode on dead end. Just get
Yes.
directions, man. Don't take
Just
any
get
fucking
directions
shortcuts. Get the fuck out of
and have
here.
a map handy.
Yeah. Mika does learn a little bit more about demons and explains to the audience basically the main differences between demons and ghosts. Demons are a little
Hmm.
more malicious, they'll attach to people.
Hmm.
Um,
At
you know,
random,
yeah, at random.
which
And
changes in the future.
it reminded me of the whole marketing behind the first Insidious movie. Do you remember like the tagline for that was like, it's not the house that's haunted,
Yes.
right? And I was like, oh, this movie did this like years prior, like 4 years prior.
But it's a very different type of demon and situation, I feel.
Yeah, it's one's not playing Tiny Tim and shit on some busted ass record player just to fucking weird us all out.
Well, because it's a different version because you have the little boy astral projecting to the demons and
Mm.
ghosts, whereas this demon is coming to Katie.
We hop into night five,
Hmm.
and this is where at least shit just starts at least getting louder.
Yeah,
Yeah, you hear that big slam
I don't like that.
downstairs. Oh, and I think this is when is this when the fucking
The chandelier.
chandelier starts moving? I'm like, we're taking that down immediately. No, thank you.
Yeah, because I thought, didn't you think though that that was going to fall on someone at some point? Like it was a little foreshadow.
A little bit,
I
right?
think it was just to show that, like, what else would have moved something towards the ceiling with no breeze, no wind. It's just a scary thing that couldn't easily happen without something supernatural going on.
They see that, the alarm's still set, all the doors are still locked from the
Mm-hmm.
inside. Um, Jesus. I think just right then I'd be like, oh, we're leaving. Okay.
Yeah, you at least try it.
I'd make it to night five.
Yeah, at least try it. I think that loud bang and the chandelier would have me out of there. Yeah.
Yeah. Because that chandelier, what else would do that?
Mm-hmm.
Right? No, thank
Yeah.
you.
Mm-mm.
So,
We're gone.
um, this is when, see, I have in my notes that the sister comes over, her friend Amber comes over.
Yes.
They do their
Amber.
they do their beads together. I love that for them.
Mm-hmm.
Shared hobby amongst friends.
Mm-hmm.
Mika, who had brought up a Ouija board prior, is still like, hey,
Hmm.
let's talk to this thing. Now, why? Why doesn't it why get a Ouija board? Like I've never seen any situation where talking to somebody through one of those things is ever going to work out positively for anybody. So, why?
He's he's really fucking Katie over because
Yeah.
the camera was what is already making things worse. And
Yeah.
then, like, Mika, you went online, you did a bunch of research. In your research, you must have found that a Ouija board opens communication. Once you acknowledge something, as far as I know, that pretty much is always going to make things worse and invite it. And the psychic told him the same thing. And I will say, Katie reacts totally appropriately to saying no to the Ouija board, but I think she could have gone harder on him, like, from the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My mistake, it's actually in this next night, which is night 13, where we get the chandelier.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that night five was the there's footsteps and then Katie wakes up from a nightmare. Like that like big gasp and she like wakes up in the middle of the night from the nightmare. That's what happens the night before the
Right.
chandelier and the loud thump. Yeah.
So, night 13, spookiest night.
I know.
Um,
I said, uh-oh.
uh-oh, it's just gonna get real bad here.
In my
Um,
notes.
this is when Mika starts taunting the fucking thing, and you're just like, who
I
do
can't
you
with
think you
him.
fucking are, dude? Like, what do you think's gonna happen? I don't know. It's gonna be like, oh, you got me. I'm gonna run away. Never mind.
Yeah, ooh, spooky man.
Spooky Mika.
Yeah, he's not scary at all either, no matter how he taunts.
Yeah, not at all.
No.
But this is where you get that shriek. Do you remember
Yeah,
that?
that like the demon scream.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
It's that was a pretty good scare.
Yeah. And then you have
Yeah.
the slam, and then you see the chandelier moving
Yep.
and shit.
Yep.
So you're like, Jesus Christ.
Hmm.
um, Mika's like, we can get more evidence. I've got some EVP equipment. Let's try
Hmm.
and keep this going along. And this is when he starts going around asking questions.
Love it.
Um, you know, again, he's still not taking it seriously. I think he's like quoting Monty Python as
Yeah.
he's like, asking this thing questions.
Yeah.
Still not taking this seriously, which I'm like, after that night, I'm like, how could you not? I don't
How
know.
are you still there? And if you are still there, how could you not take this seriously?
Unless it's like a situation like, we were talking about in our episode on the fourth kind, where like multiple people get abducted, and then like Elias Koteas's character is just like, I know what I saw, but I refuse to believe it, or something along those lines.
Yes. Yes.
He's like,
But
I know what I saw, but I refuse to believe that's what it is, and that's it. So he
I
just blocks that out. I don't know.
I think what's interesting about this, and without like talking too much about future films, is kind of an ongoing theme, is this is a man. So already we're off to a bad start. This is a man that, even though now he knows that it's true, I think he really has this sense of like being invincible and like this thing isn't actually going to hurt them. So even though the psychic told him the dangers, and even he said, like, let's just give it what it wants, and the psychic's like, it wants Katie. So that's not an option. At one point, I did think I was like, maybe Mika will just be like, take her.
Thought about it, right?
Yeah, right. So I think he just is not taking it seriously because he doesn't think there's anything at stake for him here, which clearly he's wrong. But he just thinks it's a big joke and it's like to have fun with, but whew, I would not risk it.
No.
Mm-mm.
I mean, hey, he's a day trader. He doesn't care about the
And
risks,
pompous ass motherfucker.
gets off on the risks. I don't know.
Yes, there you go. Maybe that was very strategic that that's his job.
So he's listening back to the EVP that he recorded, and he does get a
Mhm.
light growl. It's pretty good.
Specifically for the question of like, would you want to communicate with a Ouija board?
Yeah. And he goes,
Mhm.
yes, 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 I do, please. You have to listen to it really closely to get like all the
That's
words out.
uh-huh.
Yeah. Um, now we get to night 15. Um, Granted, there's only 21 nights, right? So we're in night 15,
Yeah, they skip a lot of
and they skip
nights.
some. Yeah.
Which I appreciate because, spooky shit's not happening every night.
He's got other nights, he's probably got other people he's creeping on, and,
Hmm.
you know, nights where he just
Yeah.
wants to sleep in the
You
attic
gotta
and
have backup.
watch
You gotta have a
TV.
backup person you're haunting.
100%. Um, this night 15, is our first like sleepwalk possession
Mm.
situation with Katie where she gets up, she just stands on her side of the bed. I'm okay with her doing that. Just like I was okay with my ex. Like if you just get up and stand on your side of the bed, fine. That's fine. Just don't come over to my side of the bed.
Lies.
Leave me
I
alone.
would not be okay with someone standing on any side of my bed, at the foot of my bed, on my side, on their side, levitating above me. None of it.
If you got
Like
to do it, go to your side. Come on.
she's standing there for an hour and a half.
Yeah. It's so fun to watch the
Ugh.
timer just go faster and faster, and you're just like, oh my
How do
God.
they do that? How do they make it look like she's standing there for an hour and a half? Do they just like loop at like
Probably.
footage? I
Yeah.
I always wondered that. I thought it's so fun.
And she goes downstairs,
Mhm.
um, and then you find her outside. She's just sitting
Yeah.
on, the porch swing out in the backyard.
Mhm.
Also, beautiful big backyard with the pool. Um,
Yeah.
that specific type of like red, like whatever you call it, and then like the blue tile, like that specific like
Hmm.
lining of a pool is very Southern California. I feel like
Yeah,
I've
for sure.
so many people I've seen with backyards that have pools that like look exactly like that.
Hmm.
So that's the other thing too, which I think also might add, I guess, maybe the scariness of it, I guess, is because, like I said, we're from this area. We recognize these houses. I've
Oh
been in those
yeah.
track homes with almost that exact layout before. I've been in
There's
all sorts of these houses.
there's a shot where after Mika and Katie hear something in the middle of the night, that Mika like whips open the curtain and like does a shot of the dark backyard. That is one of the scariest moments for me because I'm like, it looks like looking into like my mom's backyard.
Yeah.
Like it looks very, very familiar and still very scary at the same time. So I think there is something really effective about a house that looks like a basic, normal track house having something scary going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he finally is able to find her. He's looking around, being like, "Where the fuck are you, Katie?" And he finally wakes up
Yeah.
but yeah, finds her outside. He says it's freezing cold. I'm like, it's San Diego. How cold could it
I
possibly
know.
get?
Calm down. Yeah. He's like, I
Calm
mean, she
down.
was in shorts and a tank top in the
Yeah.
middle of the night. So it was probably a little chilly.
Yeah. And it's October, so you're probably like 50s, maybe.
Hmm. But she's not going to
Okay.
freeze to death.
Nah, she'll be fine. So, and she doesn't remember any of this. So when they're talking the next morning,
Yeah.
she doesn't remember any of the shit. But she does talk to him, like in her weird, like possessed state where she's like, "No, I'm good. I'm gonna sit out here. I'm fine. Don't worry."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Well, Okay, I'm gonna bring you a blanket then if you're gonna sit out here.
Hmm.
Okay, just watch out for like just mosquito bites and shit. Like, all right, good luck.
She sounds like she's um sleepwalking the
Yeah,
way that she's talking. But what I wonder is this her standing at the her side of the bed and then going downstairs. Is that like the demon like doing like a little like test run, like trying to see how long it can hold her?
might be.
Because if she doesn't remember and she's like standing there all creepily, she's probably possessed in that time.
Yeah, I probably tried to be like, hey, let's try it out. Let's see how long I can full on possess her.
Yeah.
Let's go out for a swim, little night swim, you know? And by the time they make it outside, and he's like, fuck, I forgot to change into like a bathing suit. I don't even know where she keeps her bathing suit. But
I'm new to
uh,
this.
I'm already tired, so I'm just gonna sit down for a minute and then just leave her there, recharge for a little bit.
It's exhausting possessing.
And by the time he's ready to get up and get hop into that pool, Buzzkill Micah comes out and he's like, "What's going on?" He's just like, "I'm fine, leave me alone." Fucking
Find my
Mika,
bathing suit.
right? Yeah, go get my bathing suit, asshole. Come in, and then go to bed.
A
Leave me alone.
blanket? What?
Yeah, turn that hot tub on. Let's see. We're going into the next day.
Oh, and
This
the
is when.
TV. Don't forget about the TV. The
Oh, right,
TV
because
turns
there's.
on upstairs, which is a pretty big deal.
Yeah,
That's pretty scary.
I'd say so. But
Hmm.
even then, I think just anything with electronics, you could always kind of
You could
chalk that
justify.
up to
Hmm.
who knows what happens. I don't know. Random shit
Hmm.
happens all the time. I don't know. Maybe it's
Okay,
just like a
but
surge.
you say that, but would you rationalize that if you're like all that's happening and then your
Well,
TV turns on static?
everything after everything post chandelier, I'm like, nope, this is all demon shit. I
Okay, okay.
am.
I just wanted to make sure because I was like, I would not be cool with that.
If this was your first night where she
Okay.
sleepwalks, goes downstairs, and then the
Hmm.
TV turns on upstairs, I'd be like, okay, this is a lot of weird shit at once, but I'm not gonna like my brain does immediately want to jump to demon, but I'm gonna try to give it benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
This is just normal stuff.
Yeah. Just
Um,
rationalize.
I know, like, gosh, it's like I think even the psychic's like, oh, some stuff could be like old pipes or whatever. I'm like, when was this house built? What do you mean old pipes?
Yeah. How
Like,
old
get
could
out of
these
here.
pipes be? Yeah. That house does not look that old.
Like my house is super haunted, probably. I haven't seen anything yet. My house was built in like 1901, 1902 or some shit.
Hmm.
There's probably old pipes. And you do like,
Yeah.
it's like old rickety hardwood floors, so everything makes a
Just
sound,
bodies in the wall.
100%. Well, those were added recently. So Mika. He's like, dude fucking comes home with a Ouija board.
I can't with him. And like a fancy looking one.
I wouldn't say fancy looking one. I
Okay,
guess
fancier than like your basic Parker Brothers. You can find it at Target.
this one, it still looked like laminated, but
Hmm.
so it did. And I didn't think it was high quality. I did think it was funny where it's just like, of all the Ouija boards you had to get, why'd you have to get the one with the fucking pentagram on it?
That's what
And
I'm saying. Like
what,
the most
why?
demonic looking shit you could find.
And then the fucking old English like type font that's on it.
Ugh,
It just reminds me of like the guys that would like get like their like names tattooed across their chest and shit,
yeah.
old in that old English font. So I'm just like, did you just find this like with a pack of natty ice somewhere? I don't know. There's a very specific type of Southern California bro where I'm like, oh, that is a SoCal bro Ouija board.
Hey, I
100%.
have old English font on tattooed on me, so you
Do
know.
you? Oh
My number
gosh.
13.
Oh, okay. What's a number? It's not like,
It's not my name.
yeah.
Just
Be like,
across my
yeah,
shoulder
absolutely.
blades.
Just right across your shoulder blades. Not to knock anyone that has those tattoos. I have dumb tattoos. So
We all do.
it's still wild they have not called this demonologist yet. We're like however many days
Uh,
into this.
I would have been leaving messages nonstop. I wouldn't have even told Mika. I would have been like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm calling and I'm not even gonna let him know if he's gonna fight me on this.
He sets the camera to look at the Ouija board downstairs and they leave. Katie's
Hmm.
pissed because she's like, I fucking told you,
She's
dude. Like, just listen to me. Just please fucking listen to me once. And he hasn't.
hmm
So, and she's still mad when they get back too.
she's at a
Um,
10 and she should have been at a 10 the whole fucking time since he got the camera.
yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
So they leave for a few hours and then you see the cursor start moving around on its
that's
own.
pretty good.
It's pretty good. And
Hmm.
then the board catches fire,
Yeah,
which I'm just
I
like,
love
whew,
it.
fire season, come on. Like,
Yeah, lucky
let's,
you didn't lose that house.
I know, Jesus.
Damn.
So like I said, they come home a couple hours later. Katie's fucking just still super pissed. Mika wants to talk about, hey, the Ouija board is like half melted.
Yeah, he's like, it has a message on it.
Yeah, and she's like, I don't want to fucking hear it. Like, and she says,
Hmm.
she's if not at this scene, like at some other point where she's like, this is just getting worse. I feel like the more that we are trying to
Hmm.
get in contact or fuck with this thing, or like even just be
She's
more just
right.
aware of its presence, it just keeps getting worse, dude. Like
Yeah.
the fuck. And then and Mika's just, yeah, but, or yeah, you're right, but let me keep poking and prodding at this
Uh-huh.
and trying to I don't know. It's so
He has to.
exhausting putting up
He
with
has
him,
to.
but
Like, he just can't help it. It's this pompous, tough guy shit that he's doing. And I mean, Katie definitely has a rough situation going on here, but that board would have been out of my house
yeah,
immediately. Like, I would have thrown it away myself. I wouldn't have been like, hey, I need you to throw. No, we're gonna burn it right now. Like, get it out of
100%.
the house.
We go to the next day, the friend is back over,
Hmm.
and even I think even she's just like, what the fuck you doing, bro? I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, because she offers to let them stay at her house.
Right. And then she's like, nah, it's just gonna follow me. I don't want to bring it over to
Yeah.
you. To which she's kind of like, oh,
That's
thank
nice of
God.
her.
Yeah, she's like, I feel like I got to offer because I'm a good friend, but also, whew, thank God.
Yeah. You wouldn't have even offered. You would have been like, I'm so sorry, Natalie. You're gonna have to deal with your own fucking demons.
That's terrible. I don't know. But then at the end of the movie, like when Katie's just missing, I'd be like, oh no, I did not want Katie making her way to my house. I did
You'd be
not like
like,
that one
great.
bit. Yeah. I don't know if they ever bring up this friend Amber in any of the other movies.
No.
No? Okay.
Mm-mm.
Well, we just assume everything worked out for Amber.
Yeah, I think she's okay.
But then she's like, so what are you all gonna do? And then Mika's like, as you all know, I'm an idea guy. And I've got my best idea so far. Check out all this white powder I got.
Babe, baby powder night.
Yeah, it's baby powder night.
Uh-huh.
And he's like, I'm just gonna dust this all over and we're just gonna see what pitter patter happens. And
Yeah.
then I'm like, and then what? What? You're gonna see some footsteps, and then what?
Yeah,
Like,
he just wants proof on camera, which doesn't help Katie.
yeah.
So it's just, yeah, he's an idiot. We know this to be true.
So let's see how this powder experiment goes, right? Night 17.
Hmm.
It is pretty cute. I didn't think this part was scary at all. I was
You
like,
thought it was
oh,
cute?
yeah, I'm like, oh, little tit tap.
Are they supposed to be hooves? Because it kind of looks like a giant bird foot.
Right. I don't know if it's like claws. I think it's claws.
Okay.
Or 'cause I would think that normally they'd be hooves, but they're probably like claws of some sort. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. Definitely not human feet. That's the most important thing.
And Micah, or Mika, sorry. I've just never met anyone who pronounced it Mika, so I've been doing a
It's
pretty good
spelled
job.
Micah. Yeah.
I, because I have Micahs in my life, but no
Hmm.
one who calls themselves Mika. So don't mind me. I know I've probably mixed it up one or two times so far.
It's okay.
I would have kept my mouth shut, but he says there's no footsteps going out. I'd be like, man, get the fuck out of here. Um, and then so let's see. So then we find the footsteps. I guess they
Hmm.
do go back out, or they find them coming from down the hallway. So they
Yeah.
trace the footsteps back, And anyone that's lived in, we used to live in California, at least I know, this is what attic entrances look like. It's basically just
Mm-hmm.
a cutout square in the drywall
Yeah.
on the ceiling, and it's not like an attic you can it has like a draw ladder that you can like walk in and even stand up completely in. It's
Mm-hmm.
very, very dense space, which a lot of
Well, that's the newer houses have that. Like mine has an
yeah,
actual door that goes to the attic.
spooky.
It yeah, it is a little spooky up there. But there's I do not like that displaced little rectangle. That Katie reacted perfectly
Yeah.
to that.
Oh my gosh. And to see that, yeah, like you said, you go back to where this attic entrance is and it's opened. And you're just like,
No.
oh my God,
Nope.
no.
I'd be like, well, that's it for me. We're leaving in the middle of the fucking night.
I still haven't opened the one in my house. I have no interest.
I
No,
still
thank
can't
you.
believe that. That's wild.
Yeah. One day we will. Maybe it'll be a YouTube situation. We're just gonna
Oh yeah, we could do for the podcast.
just follow me just to my untimely death, getting eaten by whatever the fuck's living on top of there.
It'd be
No,
worth it.
thank you. Yeah. Um, Mika's like, hey, I'm gonna take a look up there. I think I see something. Which he does. He notices little I don't understand the
Incredible he saw that.
incredible he saw that. And then also he said that it's over their bed. Now, this is a picture, a torn and kind of burnt picture of
Mm-hmm.
Katie when she was a child in the
Mm-hmm.
driveway of her old house, the one that burnt down.
Yeah.
How the fuck would it get up there? And also,
Mm-hmm.
why is it above their bed? Even though, like, I was trying to get my bearings up there, I
It
was
felt
like,
like
I
it was
didn't
the
think it,
opposite side of the house, but
right?
whatever.
So, whatever. Um, y'all just keep deciding to stay in this
Mm.
house. Like, I get it, it's attached to you. I get it. But I think if you, again, go to a if you go to a hotel, like a busy enough hotel that has like cameras in the hallway, at
Yeah.
least you're like you're around other people that are going to hear shit too, because it's
Yeah.
not like it's shit only they can hear. If anyone else came and stayed over at the house, which maybe would have been my other option, it's like let's bring other people over just to make sure we're not crazy.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
I
because
don't know.
sometimes, if it's just two of you and one of you is like fully convinced it's happening, and all of a sudden the other person's bought in, it's like, okay, maybe we're like suggesting things to each other, and as a result, hearing noises that aren't actually there, or the pipes are actually creaking, So you could just have a party every night.
Though, if you had told me that and you're like, "Hey, look, me and our family we're experiencing some shit. We need you to come and see if it's true and see what you feel."
Yeah,
I'd be
just
like,
come hang out.
I'd be like, "The fuck? No, absolutely not. Get
No,
out of
you
here."
know what I would do? I wouldn't tell you there was anything creepy going on. I'd just be like, oh, Kyle, come hang out. Trick you into it.
That's fucking evil and malicious.
Yeah.
I don't like it one bit.
Yeah.
I'd never do that to you, probably. So Katie's very upset, clearly. The next day, she calls Dr. Avery's
Finally.
and the demonologist. Finally, here we are, like before night 18. So she waits 2.5 weeks to finally call.
Girl.
And he doesn't answer because, of course, he's out of town. If you called 2 weeks ago, it'd be fine.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Now he's on PTO.
But even then, yeah, because I mean, even demonologists get PTO, right? Well, I
I
mean,
would
I
hope
don't know.
so.
It probably doesn't work the same way because they're like
He probably works for
self-employed.
himself. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, um, but then even then, I'd be like, okay, let's call some other demonologists or let's call Dr. Friedrich and be like, hey, is there anyone else you can recommend to us?
Yeah.
Like, come on, just because
Mm-hmm.
clearly, Avery isn't available.
Yeah.
No luck. So now we're on to night 18. We're not fucking with the powder anymore.
Mm-mm.
Now we're getting some steps, and I would say not even pitter patter steps anymore. We're
Oh
getting some
no.
very confident stomping from this
And
guy,
door
from this guy,
slamming.
and some door slamming, and
Having
then
a
you hear the
temper tantrum.
rumbling. Yeah, he's in a mood. Slamming the door, noise going on. He's trying, Mika's trying to get the door open for the other side, and it's not
Mm-hmm.
working. Like, so clearly, again, like, I think everybody's pretty on board with shit going on,
Mm-hmm.
but shit's getting pretty serious at this point.
Yeah.
you get noises and shit, um and it's very, very getting more aggressive at this point.
That might be some of Katie's best acting though, is when she's like begging Mika, like she says please like several times, like very, very upset. And like I felt that fear in her when she's like begging him. I think she's begging him to leave.
Is this the point where she's like telling him like you are powerless, which I'm like, geez, when men hear that it crushes them. So I can see why
Especially this
Mika would
man.
yeah, why Mika would double down. Not that she's, I mean, she's right,
She's
absolutely,
right. Yeah.
clearly. But she is just like, let's just stop. This is just getting worse and worse and worse and worse.
Hmm.
I feel like it's getting worse. Yeah, I don't know. I'd say it was worse night three, or not worse night three, but like it was worse enough night three or night five.
Is is this the same night that the photo is broken?
Now the following day. So when I was talking about shit getting serious,
Oh, okay.
now this fucker isn't even just limiting his little, you know, tantrums and little fucking hijinks to the night. Now he's doing this shit in broad daylight where you hear
Yeah,
slams upstairs, a photo, and you've got
I
Mika's
love
face
it.
smashed in, which good.
I I love that he's like, why is it just my face that's scratched? And I'm like,
Like an
really,
idiot.
Broseph? Like
Oh,
you've been fucking taunting this demon, and you're probably like Katie's like only like lifeline. Like, come on, you you idiot. But it is really fun. It took me a couple watches to notice this because she like kind of freezes and says, I can feel it breathing on me. And you see her hair actually move with its breath.
yeah, when she's in the hallway upstairs.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't think I noticed that until like my third watch of this movie. So I've seen it quite a few times.
that's a good trick.
Yeah, it's really good.
So they're like, okay, let's at least try to get Friedrich back. He's pretty funny in this part.
Oh my God.
He steps in once and he's like, oh, no, thank you. Goodbye,
He
everybody. See you
him
later.
him coming in and being like, I need to get the fuck out of here. I can't help you is scarier than anything that the demon actually does.
He doesn't make it past like the front step into the house. Like the
No,
first set of
he
tiles, and he turns right around. He's like, no, I'm
not
sorry. Me
interested.
being here is going to is making
Yeah,
this thing angry. I can feel it. But then he just says, like, leaving's not going to help you at all. I would at least be like, you can try. Just maybe give me a
why
head
not
start. So
air it out a little bit, you know? Like, yeah, just give it maybe even a night or something. But I do enjoy his reaction. And I think he's a great actor too, this guy. Like I'm thoroughly convinced that he's just absolutely terrified of what's going on.
so Friedrich's like, nope, no thanks. Good
Peace
luck,
out.
everybody. Yeah, peace out later. I'll watch the I'll watch the news reports when they find your bodies.
Yeah, he
Um,
kind of implied like, "Ooh, it might be too late for you."
yeah, he was like, why didn't you call him? Why didn't you
Yeah.
call fucking this other guy?
Yeah.
It's been like weeks now. Why are you calling me back? I told you I couldn't help you.
Yeah, but he does say he's like, "Oh, he'll be back in a couple days," instead of saying, "Oh, I'll email." Like I'd be like, "I'll email you some more names."
Yeah, he should have been like, let me give you a couple more names
Yeah,
instead of like, I'll come back in a
absolutely.
couple days. And maybe even by that, he meant, I'll be back in a couple days to report the bodies being found. So,
Yeah. Oh,
night 19, not too bad. He's just being kind of a perv, wants to check out her feet a little bit, maybe, breathe on her a little bit. And he
that's
just goes
true.
back
And
downstairs.
a little knock knock knock.
Yeah, so that's
Yeah.
polite.
Uh-huh.
So I would say night 19, pretty easy.
Kind of chill. Kind of chill because
Yeah.
he's like, "You know what? I may have overreacted. I'm sorry I broke your picture. I do fucking still hate that guy,
But
but
he just can't let it go because night 19, he's like, let me take a look at them toes. Let me see what's going on here. And then he's like, I'm gonna come back and pull on these things later. And he does.
those are gonna be my toes soon."
Maybe my toes. I'll see you tomorrow night. Oh boy. Um, geez. I feel bad because now, like watching this movie, multiple times, by this point, like, gosh, they still think they have a chance. of like trying to even figure out what this thing is. And I'm like, no, it's been too late for y'all for weeks
It's
now.
been, yeah, it's been too late for quite a while.
They do a little bit more internet research. Mika, like I said, no need to trust the experts. I do my own research.
Ugh.
Please,
Yeah,
thank you.
he was way ahead of everybody else.
Oh, geez. And he does find this. I love just 90s and 2000s era websites like
I
the
know.
just they look so cheap now.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Hmm.
But they find out about this woman named, I want to say, what's her name, like Linda or something? I forget.
No, it's
Um
Diane or something similar to the
Diane.
lettering that was on the Ouija board.
You find out this woman Diane, something very similar. Even when she was 8 years old, specifically 8 years old, is when this
Hmm.
thing attached to her. And then things did not work out well for her.
Yeah, house
She did
burned
not survive
down.
that ordeal. Yeah,
Yeah.
and a house burnt down. Right.
Yeah, Katie's like, but she's okay, right?
Yeah. Right.
He's like,
And it's like,
ooh,
what am I supposed to do with this? Ah, Jesus. So we're into night 20.
mm,
Um, this was
big
a pretty
night.
good one. This was a good one. I don't know if I remember. Yeah, the chandelier was still the most fucked up night for me. But I do
He
remember
drags her out of bed. Are you
this
kidding?
one's pretty fun to watch.
Yeah,
Um,
good
her getting
effect.
dragged out of bed, pulled down the hallway.
Hmm.
But the thing is, like, I don't think that was part of the special effects that were added later. I was like, that was the best effect in the movie.
It's really good. I have
It's
no
so good.
idea how one pulls that off.
It's so good. Really fun. Mike
Hmm.
runs after her.
Dude,
Jesus Christ. And then even tries to like pull her like up like into the attic,
yeah.
right? Because
Yeah,
I
because
think
she
that's what's
starts to kind
happening.
of move
Up,
upward.
yeah.
Yeah. And
Ugh.
then I wonder, I'm like, okay, is it just like living and hanging out in the attic?
Yeah, I think that's its kind of home base. I mean, but then I'm like, there's like three guest bedrooms. Like, what are you doing?
And they all have beds, which
Yeah,
feels excessive for like a couple living in that house.
I know they're talking about guest bedrooms,
Yeah.
Natalie. Bedrooms. Ooh la
How much
la.
fucking yeah,
Fuck.
how much fucking company do y'all have? Nobody's gonna want to come over with that shit you got going on.
Yeah, that's the irony. You've got all the space for people, but obviously no one wants to come because you
I'm
got
not
at
coming
least
over.
something fucking hooved living
Yeah.
in one of these rooms or in
They're
the
like,
attic,
we
whatever the
have
fuck.
three king size beds for you to choose from. And you're like, nope,
No,
nope,
I
nope,
don't.
nope.
Ooh, on a hot day, offering that pool, I'd be like, no, I'm not coming in the house, but I'll walk around the side yard and make myself a daiquiri and I'll be in the pool.
Yeah,
But I
there
will
you
not
go.
come in the house kind of
Mhm.
situation, maybe. So I don't think they even go back to sleep at this point, right? Because shit's just gotten
No,
fucked
she is
up.
like crying, sobbing in his arms. Like that is a traumatizing experience.
Finally, she wants a hotel. But finally, she's like,
This,
okay, let's maybe try it out just to see.
yeah, this
I'm like,
bitch. I would have
I
tried out
know.
every fucking thing I could. I would have left the
Before staying in the
country.
house.
Yes, I would have like first it would have been a hotel. Hotel doesn't work. Okay, maybe I'll go stay at a friend's house. That doesn't work. Okay, maybe I'll go to a different state or a different country. Maybe it's an it follows situation where it takes a while to catch up with you. You don't
Right?
know. Just because it's attached to you doesn't mean you can't try to outrun it a little bit.
Change your name, dye your hair a different color.
Yeah.
Just try to confuse it a little bit.
Find another demonologist. There's got to be more
Yeah.
than one.
Oh my gosh. Um, so fuck. They also notice this is when they pull up her shirt and you see that big ass
Ooh.
bite mark on her side.
Oof.
Ugh.
I know when he goes to touch it and she like flinches.
Yeah.
Oh, you know that shit hurt.
Ooh, Jesus.
Mm.
Um, she's pretty out of it for the rest of this movie. Um,
She's like half possessed at this point, I think.
well, Micah, no, I think it's the next day at this point where he's like,
Yeah.
okay, we're gonna get a hotel for tonight. He's all huffy and puffy and shit, being like, I'm done with this motherfucker. This ends now, and this and this and this. And
Oh
it
yeah, he's
takes, I
like,
don't
you
know,
fuck with my girlfriend. Da, da, da. And you're like,
yeah,
okay, calm
in
down,
my
sir.
house with my girlfriend. I'm like, whoa, bro,
Yeah, fuck off.
calm down. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he takes that photo of Katie and throws it in the fireplace to burn it.
Ooh,
For some reason, thinking that like I
what's
don't
that
blame
gonna
him.
do?
If you've seen enough horror movies or ghost movies, generally, it's worth a try to take whatever this item
Mm-hmm.
is. But usually there's some sort of twist where it's like, nope, that wasn't what you were supposed to do. That just made
Yeah.
it worse. Come on.
Yeah, I would
So
have thought that would have made it worse.
Katie's pretty out of it. She's just sitting on the floor, just bleeding from the hand, holding a crucifix. Um, so she's not
Clearly
doing good.
possessed at this point.
And that's another option. I'd be like, dude, take her to a hospital. Like at
Yeah.
least like what's gonna happen in a hospital? At least it's staffed 24/7. People are gonna see
Yeah.
shit because everyone's awake. I
Yeah.
don't know. Just to try to help demonstrate something, right?
Yeah.
But granted, she can't stay in a hospital forever, but at least gives you some reprieve so you can call a fucking demonologist.
Yes. Again, anything that could get the demonologist to you is the action you would want to take.
Right.
Yeah.
Mike is like, okay, cool, we got everything good to go, got the hotel booked, let's go. Katie's like, no,
Mm,
let's stay here.
I'm
It's
feeling a little
okay.
cozy in this
Yeah,
bed.
I think it's just a good idea to stay.
Yeah.
What do you
He's like,
think?
what the fuck?
I think if she really wanted to be more convincing, I think she'd be like, let's stay. Come on, cuddle up. Hang out in bed with me.
Yes,
Because then
exactly.
Mika would immediately be like, oh yeah, cool, I'll turn the camera on.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
go. Yeah.
If she was like, leave that camera on and I'm getting this bed, he'd be like, yep, who cares what's going on?
Yeah, I have forgotten literally everything else.
Yes.
So oh my gosh. Now Katie wants to say she's clearly possessed at this
Her
point.
voice
Um,
even like is warped. Like she's got that.
the double voice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Ooh.
pretty good. It's pretty
She
fun.
smiles at the camera. She's kind of laying in bed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
They're already fucked.
she's real fucked and Mika's about to be.
So here we are. Night 21.
Mm.
October 8th, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
2007, something like that.
Getting
2006.
close to Halloween.
Yeah. Clear in the spooky season, right?
Hmm.
Um, Katie gets up, does her thing. This is like that whole bit where she goes over to his side of the bed,
Yeah, for 2.5 hours.
just stands there, just bobbing.
Ugh.
Oh, no, thank you. Get the fuck back to bed.
I
No.
Can you imagine watching, like, I mean, obviously he doesn't see this footage, but like any of the other footage of her just standing on the side of the bed for over an hour? I wouldn't even want to, I'd be like, you know what? We got multiple bedrooms. I'm gonna need you to choose your favorite and go sleep in there.
100%. Jeez. Um, she does her thing. Then she walks downstairs, starts screaming. I think his name.
Screaming.
Yeah, like over
Good
and over and
screams.
over. He
Hmm.
leaps out of bed, runs downstairs. There's a bit of a scuffle of some sort.
Yeah, you hear something real nasty sounding and then silence.
Yeah. She kills him
Never
like
good.
pretty almost immediately.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I thought there'd be some sort of more like torture, like drag him up the stairs and fucking slam him around and shit. But of course, obviously you don't have the budget to show any of that.
After all the shit that he put that demon through, that demon just needed to get the job done.
Yeah.
Like, fuck this guy.
um Drags him upstairs,
Mhm.
and then last we see of Micah is just being thrown right at the camera.
I love it.
Katie's looking really creepy here. I'll give her that. When
Covered in
she's
blood.
on all fours, covered in blood, and she starts like fucking like sniffing his body and
I
shit.
love that she sniffs his body. I think it's so scary.
Yeah, it's good. Um,
Yeah.
and then you have this last shot where she looks right at the camera. Then you
Hmm.
see like superimposed like demon-ish face.
Yeah. I wish they would have just left it as a smile.
Me too. I didn't actually. I think yeah, that I think looks pretty bad.
It looks
Everything else in
pretty
the
bad.
movie looks
It
great.
always looked bad too. Like it didn't look good in 2007 either.
And then this is when we cut to black, and then we get this, title card at the end saying that, you know, Mika's found 3 days later by the police. Katie's whereabouts are unknown,
Yeah.
and that's it.
And then the whole thing from the production company saying that this is all fake. And You can't believe you actually believed it.
I love that.
But there's no credits, which I remember that was weird.
I wonder if for some reason I thought that there was some legal situation with this movie where the stars, like Katie and Mika, like tried to like renegotiate, especially because the movie was so successful. And
Hmm.
even like reading on like the production of the movie, like, there was no like expressly like written script. It was just some ideas of like, hey, let's have this happen, then this happen. You all just improvise. So like I
Yeah.
wonder if like
They
Mika
just
and
gave
Katie like
them
also were
like,
getting some sort of a writing credit too, because they were coming up with that dialogue and they do sell it well, because it sounds
yeah,
like an awkward, just real couple. I think they
yeah,
do a good job.
I think they do too. Yeah, I think the idea was they were given a situation like this is your day. Here are some of the things that you can talk about, and then they just improv it. And they feel like a real couple. Like her frustration with him is definitely feels real.
Yeah. I feel that. I felt that with her.
Yeah.
And that's the end of our movie.
Hmm.
It's a real breezy 82 minutes, which I
Yeah.
think is perfect.
Yeah,
Like,
it's a good length of time, especially for like you do get a lot of I think the pacing of this movie is actually really good because you get downtime. You feel like you get to know the characters enough to know how they're going to react, but exciting things happen throughout, and the way that it escalates is you don't feel like you're waiting too long.
yeah, I feel like the movie's pace is like a bum, 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 like kind of like
Yeah.
just ramps up. So like you have your
Hmm.
kind of reprieve between the spookier parts at first,
Yeah.
and then it's just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But then even like it still felt even kind of quiet even in the last few days. I mean, like you said, you just get your regular
Hmm.
just
They just look
foot sniffing night.
miserable and tired.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is sad and scary at the same time.
Anything else I forgot before we do our wrap up?
I don't think so.
Curious to see what taglines they have for this movie.
This movie, you would think had more like taglines trying to convince people that it's real, but it doesn't. They really go off of the theater experience. So,
Mhm.
we have three taglines. Don't see it alone.
I agree with that.
Oh yeah, it's way more fun seeing it with someone.
Yeah.
Don't go alone. So, same, just different wording.
Yeah.
What happens when you sleep? It's kind of fun.
Um, yeah. Okay. Yeah, because
That's it.
generally it's when they're sleeping. Okay.
Yeah, that's it. I like don't see it alone.
So, boo scores. You want me to go first?
Sure.
I think this movie is a lot of fun. Like I said, I really love the pacing. I think the acting is fun. I think it's just like a fun,
Hmm.
I don't know, it's just you get such high quality out of such a low budget. But like the high quality
For
isn't
sure.
necessarily, you know, the acting or the writing or, the lighting or the cinematography or what have you, it's it's just like that pace and that structure, and it just feels
Hmm.
has such a great energy to it.
Yeah.
Um,
It's the feeling of the movie that like really works.
it's like it's like that common thing, when people critique horror movies, it's like, it's hard to judge horror movies just based on whether they're scary or not, but
Hmm.
this movie is really, if you give me like five movies that I felt were just really effective, like got my heart rate going,
Yeah.
like, and I felt like I was kind of tired at the end of the movie.
Yes.
This would certainly be one of them. I felt tired with them towards the end, just being like, God damn, how many
Yes.
more nights we got left?
Yes. It
And
it
then we've
is
got another one.
exhausting.
So that alone is, I don't know, like, gosh, like what a fun movie. The sequels generally all diminishing returns, of course. Like
I disagree.
really, I feel I don't care about the lore so much. I felt
How
like
many
the other
times have you seen the
movies,
sequels?
I'd say I've probably seen each of them twice.
Really? So I've seen
Yeah.
each of them, I think, 3 times. I watched them last year, like all in order. And I really enjoy the lore. I enjoy how it builds. I think they reveal enough to keep you interested, but like not like bored or burnt out on it. I really enjoy it. I actually enjoy all of the sequels.
I remember liking like the odd numbered ones, like one, three, and five,
Yeah,
more than
four
the
is
even numbered
rough.
ones, like two, four, and like marked ones, I think.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, agree to disagree. I think like the
Yeah.
other movies, it's like, yeah, lore I don't really care about, and then it's more like what fun set pieces can you do within
Yeah.
these like, color book lines. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
I think which one had like the Xbox Connect thing.
That one's the second one has some really fun, like some fun little scares and tricks to it.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think I remember the one where it had it with the Young sisters, like maybe it's the prequel.
That's
Maybe
the
that's the
third
third
one.
one. I remember that one being pretty fun.
That one's really
Um,
fun. And that's where they
so
name the demon. Its
right.
name is
And
Toby.
oh, hmm.
Hmm.
So that's yeah, I don't really care so much about exploring it. That's why I like this movie as a singular movie.
Yeah.
Um, I could definitely ignore the sequels, but
The marked ones is
yeah,
my least favorite, and people love that one.
yeah. At least
I
it
went
tries to do
into
something a
it.
little different with it.
It's too much.
It has a lot more of like it's like that Cloverfield kind of energy because it's like they're like running around a bunch with like a
Yeah.
handheld camera.
A lot more
Um,
action.
yeah. This movie, like I said, I really regard it as I think it's a modern classic horror movie.
Hmm.
I think it's very effective. I think if you show anyone this for the first time, it's gonna fuck with them a little bit.
Hmm.
I yeah, I don't. What do I want to give it? I am gonna give it a 3.5.
Hmm.
How about you?
I also gave it a 3.5.
Look at us.
Our reasons are a little bit, I guess our reasons are the same. I will say I do disagree with you on the franchise as a whole. I enjoy this franchise. Um, but
I will definitely watch these before rewatching the Saw movies. I'll give you that.
that's fair. Yeah. I I love this movie. Like I will say I genuinely love this movie. I don't rewatch it often, but like I said, theater experience was a five boo experience, like in theater. Rewatchability is a little low for me at this point because I've seen it so many times. I know when to expect everything. I've dissected it quite a bit. But this
But
is, go ahead.
you didn't notice that hair pulling thing until this time. So you're still finding some little stuff.
Oh, exactly. So I always wonder if I'm going to notice something else when I watch it. And this is a movie that if you're a horror fan and you haven't seen this movie, I would tell people, I'm like, no, you need to watch Paranormal Activity. Like you said, it is a modern classic. Like it's on a list of like, you need to watch this.
Yeah.
And I recommend it to anybody who's like, I want a spooky movie to watch. If it's like around Halloween and people are like, what movie should I watch? I'm like, if you haven't seen Paranormal Activity,
Yeah.
turn off the lights, snuggle up with somebody and get real scared because it's a good time and it's also very scary. So yeah, I
Snuggle
also
up with
give it three.
somebody.
Yeah. Snuggle up with somebody who won't videotape you when you're being haunted by something.
Oh, I made sure it was in mine and my wife's vows that
Yes, that's true.
that we will always believe each other. The second we say the house is haunted,
Yes.
we will be in lockstep.
Very
I
cute.
believe you. And so, yeah, cuddle up with somebody and start game planning with them. Being like, hey,
Yes.
if we're in this situation, where are you going to be? Because I need to know where we stand if something like this is going to
Yeah.
happen. Also, by the way, a demon may have been following me for however many years now. So, by the way, so that's a good time to drop that on somebody too.
maybe if you still have a Rolodex, it'd be good to just have a psychic and a demonologist just as like, like you have a plumber that you usually call. Like
Yeah.
just find one in your area so they don't have to like make a flight out and a couple backups maybe.
And get that Ouija board out of your house.
Get don't even bring it into your house.
That's all I got. How about you?
Same.
$1.7 million. God damn. They've made the last person, it said his last sold in 2015 for 760. That means they've made basically $1 million on this
You're
house in the last 10
still
years.
you're still on this house.
I told you I just get locked in that. I'm like, oh my God.
How does it look from the outside? Is it nice? Does it look
Uh,
nice?
I mean, it
Does it
looks
look
like,
like it's worth $1.7 million?
I mean, just because it's in San Diego.
I
Yeah.
know. This is the thing. If you're not from Southern California or San Diego specifically, and you hear a house is $1.7 million, you probably think this is like this gorgeous, unique, wonderful home. It's not. It's in a suburb, like in a housing tract, and not to like, I'm not going to like poo poo on people who live in a housing tract, but like, that's what you're getting for $1.7 million here. So, it doesn't, that's also what makes it scary too, is that it doesn't look like some beautiful Victorian home.
Yeah.
Like, it looks like your average fucking SoCal house and
Stucco, like,
stucco, that
brick
Spanish
red kind of
style
tile.
tile
Yeah.
roof. Yeah,
Yeah.
like all that. Like, not like the demon was like, yeah, sure, I'll follow her wherever.
You got a palm tree out front.
Yeah. He's like, you could make a palm tree spooky.
Yeah. Well, dang, that's all I got. This was a fun one. Maybe we do
Mhm.
dive into the sequels sometime. Well, it depends how well this one does. If people want to like hear us talk about it, we'll get into the sequels. I'd be down.
Yeah,
I just don't
yeah,
know
let
when.
us know. I actually think the sequels would probably make for more interesting conversation because they get a little bit deeper and you get more characters.
Hmm.
But you still continue to get so many shitty men. So just be prepared for that in this whole franchise.
Just in general in life. Just be prepared for just
In
dumb, shitty
life,
men.
in the
I
world.
know. Ugh. All right, everybody. Take care and put the camera down. 3, 2, 1, ghost.
Thanks for listening to our episode on paranormal activity. If you enjoyed this episode, subscribe to our podcast and leave us a killer review on whichever platform you choose to listen. You can find us on Instagram at 321ghostpod and give us a follow. We would love to hear from you in the comments. You can shoot an email to 321ghostpod@gmail.com to share any thoughts, questions, or send any spooky footage you've captured. No dicks, please. Next week, we're getting you ready for Valentine's Day with 1981's My Bloody Valentine. Thanks again for listening, and remember, if you've been haunted by a demon since childhood, discuss it with your partner before you move in together. 3, 2, 1, ghost.